A warm welcome to the Sleep with Stories channel. This is your tranquil haven, a special corner crafted just for you, a place to unwind. Let go of the day's worries and prepare for a night of deep, restorative sleep. Here, every story is carefully chosen and gently narrated to cradle your thoughts and guide your mind along calm, serene paths. With each episode, you're invited to step away from the fast pace of daily life and immerse yourself in a universe of imagination, beauty, and tranquility. Our purpose is simple yet essential: to offer moments of rest and lightness through the power of words and timeless tales. Tonight, I invite you to leave the day behind and make space for a time that is yours alone, where the silence and the delicacy of these narratives can soothe your mind and heart. As you listen to my voice, allow your body to find a comfortable position. Adjust your shoulders, release your jaw, let your eyelids rest softly over your eyes, and permit every part of your body to slowly begin to relax. This is the perfect moment to simply be, without rush, without demands, just breathing and allowing yourself this gentle care. Imagine that each word you hear is like a soft breeze, lightly touching your skin and dissolving any accumulated tension. In time, you'll notice that thoughts that once seemed loud begin to quiet, like leaves gently settling on the calm surface of a lake. Here, in this space, all that matters is your well-being. And it's in this atmosphere of serenity that our journey begins. Tonight, the story I've chosen to share with you comes from distant lands, from ancient Japan, where bamboo forests concealed magical secrets and timeless legends. The narrative we will follow is known as the Tale of the Bamboo Cutter, one of the oldest and most beloved stories in Japanese folklore. It tells the incredible journey of a princess from the moon, found inside a luminous bamboo stalk by a humble cutter who never imagined his simple life was about to be transformed forever. This is a story about beauty, difficult choices, and the eternal longing that dwells in human hearts. A legend that has traversed generations, touching those who heard it with its delicacy and depth. But don't worry about trying to remember everything or holding on to every detail. This story is meant to be heard gently, like watching clouds drift slowly across the sky. You can simply let the words come to you effortlessly. Allow my voice to guide you along this calm trail, like a serene stream carrying its waters peacefully towards the sea. If sleep begins to gently arrive, don't fight it. This is the sign that your body and mind are already starting to find the rest they deserve. My presence is here to accompany you until the comfortable silence of the night takes over everything around you. So, gently close your eyes and prepare to follow me through this ancient Japanese legend. Imagine a light breeze rustling through a bamboo forest, the subtle sound of leaves moving, and the soft glow of the moon delicately illuminating everything. Soon, you will meet Kaguya, the mysterious princess who came from a distant place and enchanted everyone with her beauty and mystery. And as this story unfolds, I wish for each word to be an invitation to your rest, to the peace you deserve to find now. Let us embark together at a calm and gentle pace on this journey of imagination and serenity. This is your moment. This is your night. Now that you're settled and ready to surrender to this experience, I invite you to prepare even more deeply for the sleep that will come. Close your eyes, if you haven't already, and allow the soft darkness behind your eyelids to envelop your thoughts like a gentle blanket. Breathe deeply in through your nose and slowly release the breath through your mouth. Inhale calmly, filling your lungs with fresh air, and exhale softly, letting go of everything you don't need to carry right now. This simple act of conscious breathing is the first step to relaxing your body and quieting your mind. In this moment, nothing needs to be solved, nothing needs to be done. Just be here, listening, breathing, and resting. As you inhale, feel the air bringing peace and lightness, gently filling your chest and your abdomen. As you exhale, imagine any tension or worry drifting away, as if you were releasing tiny paper boats onto a quiet river. Feel your face relaxing, the muscles in your cheeks softening, your forehead smoothing, and even your eyes resting more deeply. Imagine that with each breath, your body settles more comfortably where it is, like finding the perfect fit in a safe and welcoming place. Nothing else matters now. Time slows down, thoughts become more distant, and everything around you begins to transform into silence and calm. Now, bring your attention to your shoulders and your neck. These areas often carry the weight of the day, the responsibilities, the small tensions we don't always notice. Inhale, and as you release the air, allow these muscles to relax completely. Feel your shoulders becoming heavy, sinking slightly, as if they were being gently cradled by gravity itself. Your neck relaxes, the back of your neck rests, and this sensation of comfort begins to spread slowly throughout your entire body, down through your arms, hands, and fingers, until it reaches your back, your chest, and your abdomen. A pleasant, almost imperceptible warmth spreads through you, bringing a feeling of protection and security. If there's any point in your body that still feels tense or restless, don't worry, just bring your breath to it like a gentle wave, washing over the sand, gradually carrying away any excess. Feel the comfort expanding through your legs, thighs, knees, and ankles until it reaches your feet and each of your toes. Your entire body begins to enter a state of deep, pleasurable rest, like slowly surrendering to a peaceful sleep after a long and eventful day. This is your moment of peace, where silence is your friend, and the night is a welcoming embrace. And as you relax, imagine that all around you there is a calm field, a safe and serene place where no worries can enter. This space was created just for you, a refuge protected by layers of tranquility, where the only sound that matters now is my voice guiding you to rest. Within this space, time slows, images become soft, and your mind finds the perfect path to repose. Stay here with me in this light and comfortable state, for soon we will begin our story. An ancient and enchanting legend awaits you. But for now, all that matters is the gentleness of this moment. Breathe once more, slowly, and allow sleep to draw near like a gentle breeze in a small village. Nestled among dense bamboo forests, lived a simple and kind-hearted man, known to all as the bamboo cutter. His life was humble, built on dedication and honest work. Every day at dawn, he would walk towards the grove with his old bamboo knife, seeking sustenance for himself and his wife. They possessed no riches, no vast lands, but they shared a precious feeling that filled their home: mutual love and respect. Their house was simple, made of wood and thatch, but the warmth that emanated from it came from the kindness in their hearts. They lived content with what they had, cultivating small moments of joy amidst the simplicity of daily life. But within them, there was an unfulfilled wish, a hope that remained alive in the silence of the night. This wish was the dream of having a child. For many, many moons, the couple had prayed to the heavens for this gift. They wished, above all, to share the love that overflowed between them with a child, someone who could make their days even happier and their lives more complete. Whenever they passed other families in the village, they would watch children playing and running freely in the fields, their eyes filled with tenderness and a touch of melancholy. Though they were resigned, the emptiness of this unfulfilled dream remained, like a small cloud in an otherwise mostly clear sky. However, they never let this absence turn their hearts to bitter sadness. They continued to live their days with kindness, caring for one another, and never lost hope every day. The cutter followed his path through the grove, where the sound of leaves danced softly in the wind and sunbeams pierced through the gaps between the branches. It was in this tranquil setting that he spent hours on end, harvesting bamboo he would use to create useful objects like baskets, cups, and mats, which he then sold or traded in the village. Over time, he became known for his skill and dedication. But even amidst the beauty of that green and vibrant environment, something within him still felt incomplete. He sensed that nature held secrets greater than his eyes could see, and deep inside, he carried the feeling that, one day, destiny would have a surprise in store for him. As he walked among the tall, slender bamboo stalks, the cutter would often pause for a few moments, close his eyes, and make small wishes to the heavens. His steps were steady, but his heart, in silence, cried out for a sign, for a gift from life that could fill his home with laughter and joy. His wife, while he was away, would stay at home preparing simple daily meals, tending to the small details of their home, and she too held this silent wish. They were united not only by the love they had for each other, but also by this shared hope, this unspoken prayer that seemed to float in the air around them like a promise yet to come. And it was precisely on one of those ordinary days, seemingly like so many others, that destiny decided to answer them. Unbeknownst to the bamboo cutter, the forests that had always greeted him with silence and greenery were about to reveal an extraordinary secret, a gift hidden among the leaves, waiting for the right moment to be discovered. Everything was about to change. That simple man, guided by his kindness and patience, was about to experience the most incredible encounter of his life. The path to this point had been long and filled with waiting, but the reward that awaited him was far greater than any dream he could have imagined. One day, as the sky was still tinged with the soft hues of dawn, the bamboo cutter set off again for the forest, as he had for so many years. But on this particular day, the air seemed to carry a different fragrance, and the sun's rays filtered through the leaves with an unusual, almost magical delicacy. He walked with calm steps among the long green stalks, attentive to the best bamboos to harvest. Everything seemed silent and serene, until, suddenly, something caught his attention. Among the dense rows of bamboo, a soft glow emerged, as if a moonbeam had gotten lost there, even under the morning sun. The glow was not ordinary. It wasn't the reflection of dew, nor a trick of the light. It was something real, pulsating, and mesmerizing. Moved by curiosity, he approached slowly, his eyes fixed on that mysterious light. As he drew closer, his heart beat faster, not from fear, but from an instinctive feeling that something extraordinary was about to happen. There, before him, was a single bamboo stalk, distinct from all the others. Its surface was translucent, and from within emanated that golden, serene glow. Gathering his courage, he carefully took out his bamboo knife and, with a gentle, respectful movement, made a cut in the gleaming stalk. Upon splitting the bamboo in half, the cutter could hardly believe what his eyes beheld. Inside that bamboo lay a tiny, delicate child, enveloped in a soft, welcoming light. The child was minuscule, the size of his palm, but exuded an aura of peace and purity that deeply touched the cutter's heart. She neither cried nor showed fear. She simply observed him with a calm, serene gaze, as if she knew exactly why she was there. For a moment, the man remained motionless, overcome by a mixture of astonishment and reverence. He felt, deep down, that this child was no ordinary child, that she had been sent to him by some higher power. A silent answer to the prayers he and his wife had made for so many years. Tears welled gently in the old cutter's eyes, not of sadness, but of a joy so intense it could hardly be expressed in words. Taking the tiny being with utmost care, he wrapped her in pieces of the cloth he carried with him. His heart pounded, and he knew he had to take her home immediately, where his wife awaited. As he walked back through the forest, the child's glow softly illuminated the path, as if nature itself were making way for this special journey. The bird's song seemed more harmonious, the leaves swayed in greeting, and the wind caressed his face gently. The old cutter knew, with all the certainty in his heart, that this was the moment he had waited for his entire life. An unexpected gift had been delivered to him by the hands of destiny itself. When he finally arrived home, his wife greeted him at the door, as she always did. But upon seeing that glow and her husband's emotional expression, she immediately realized that something wonderful had happened. When he showed her the tiny child, the woman's eyes filled with tears, and a pure smile formed on her face. They didn't need to say a word in that instant. Both knew that this little being was the answer to the prayers made on so many nights under the starry sky. Their simple home was now complete. From that day on, nothing would ever be the same, for magic had silently entered their lives, transforming their ordinary routine into a beautiful promise of joy and love. The arrival of that child in their home completely transformed the lives of the cutter and his wife. They welcomed her not just as a gift from the heavens, but as the fulfillment of a dream cherished deep in their hearts for years and years. The girl, though she had appeared magically inside a shining bamboo stalk, seemed perfectly at ease in the couple's arms, as if she had always belonged there. The couple decided to raise her as their own daughter, with all the love and care they could offer. The little one soon received a beautiful and poetic name, Kaguya, a name worthy of the beauty and mystery she carried. They didn't know exactly where she came from, nor why the heavens had chosen them for such a blessing, but none of that mattered. What truly held value was the profound sense of gratitude that filled both their hearts as the days passed. Something extraordinary happened. Little Kaguya, once the size of a palm, began to grow at an astonishing pace, as if nature itself were eager to see her blossom. In just a few weeks, she became a child of normal size, running through the small garden of the house, playing with leaves and smiling at the butterflies dancing in the air. It was as if this child brought her own light with her, illuminating everything around her. The nights, once silent and a bit lonely, were now filled with soft laughter, lullabies, and stories told at bedtime. The cutter's simple house, once just a modest shelter, now felt like a true home full of life, warmth, and hope. The villagers soon noticed the change. Anyone who saw the family now no longer saw just the old cutter and his wife. Living miracle, a girl so beautiful and graceful she seemed to have stepped out of the oldest tales. Her beauty was soft and natural, without ostentation, and her delicate manners charmed even the roughest workers in the region. The village children began to seek Kaguya's company, attracted not only by her appearance, but also by the sweetness with which she spoke and smiled. For the cutter and his wife, It was as if every gesture their daughter made was a new gift, a pleasant surprise that made them silently thank their luck for having her in their lives. Despite all this enchantment, Kaguya was not an ordinary child merely because of her origin or beauty. She also demonstrated an impressive intelligence, easily understanding the stories told by adults and quickly learning everything she was taught. But more than that, she carried a different gleam in her kind of longing, as if she held deep secrets that not even she herself could explain. She was a happy girl, but there was a gentle melancholy about her, a subtle feeling of belonging to something larger than that small world around her. The cutter and his wife, even noticing this mysterious trait, never questioned it. They loved her with such great purity that they needed no answers. They were simply grateful to have her there. And so, with the passage of time, Kaguya grew up surrounded by love, respect, and the simple beauties of nature. She learned from the trees, from the flowers, from the swaying of bamboo in the wind. Her parents taught her about generosity, about the importance of living with honesty and gratitude. Each day was a silent celebration of that miracle which had completely transformed the story of that humble family. They didn't know what the future held for their daughter, but they were sure of one thing: as long as they were together, they would form a home full of love, capable of facing any challenge that might arise. At that moment, nothing mattered more than the genuine happiness that filled the small space where they lived. Time passed, and Kaguya grew, surrounded by the simple beauty of nature and the unconditional love of her adoptive parents. The girl was not only beautiful to behold, but she also possessed a deep connection with the natural world around her. From a very young age, she loved to wander among the bamboo groves, feeling the soft texture of the leaves and listening to the gentle sound of the wind rustling through the tall, green stalks. She would sit in the shade of trees and observe tiny insects with curious, attentive eyes. It was as if nature itself knew her and responded to her presence. Birds would land near her, butterflies would circle softly around her, and even the sound of water rushing in streams seemed to sing songs just for her. Kaguya was, without a doubt, a different, special, and enchanting child. In her play, she showed an almost ethereal lightness. She would run barefoot through the fields, never stumbling, as if she floated lightly above the ground. The other village children were soon captivated by her, but there was something in Kaguya's presence that made them not only admire her, but also respect her deeply. Even when playing, Kaguya demonstrated a quiet wisdom, a calmness in her gestures and words that was uncommon in such young children. She loved to listen to the old stories told by the elders and asked questions that surprised even the village's wisest. But what drew the most attention was the kindness with which she treated everyone around her. Her gentle smile seemed to have the power to calm restless hearts and bring peace to those who lived with her. Beyond her beauty and intelligence, Kaguya showed signs of a creative and sensitive mind. She enjoyed creating little songs, humming spontaneous verses while picking flowers in the field, and often spent hours drawing figures in the soft earth with a twig. Her parents observed everything with enchantment and gratitude. For them, it didn't matter that their daughter's origin was a mystery. What mattered was seeing her happy, healthy, and full of curiosity about the world. Even amidst the common hardships of simple life in the countryside, Kaguya's presence made everything lighter. Even rainy days, once viewed with melancholy, were now filled with family stories and laughter, as raindrops slid down the wooden window panes. But as much as life in the village was full of affection and simplicity, a discreet feeling of restlessness sometimes appeared in the girl's eyes. It was a distant gaze, directed towards the horizon, as if searching for something she couldn't yet name. Her parents noticed this at times, especially when Kaguya was alone in the garden, looking at the full moon. There was a mixture of wonder and longing in her gaze, a gleam that spoke of something distant, as if that child's heart belonged to two different worlds. Even without understanding, her parents only loved her more, offering security, comfort, and affection whenever she needed it. For them, just seeing her smile was enough to know they were fulfilling the most important role of their lives. Thus, Kaguya's childhood became a magical and unforgettable period, not only for her, but for everyone who knew her. Each day was a discovery, each night a serene rest under the starry sky. In that small home, love was the invisible thread that bound everything together, weaving moments of joy and coziness. Even without knowing what the future held, her parents were certain that the arrival of this daughter had been the greatest gift they could have ever received. As the gentle breeze swayed the bamboo leaves and the moonlight discreetly illuminated the nights, Kaguya grew, charming everyone and leaving in the air the feeling that her presence was part of an even greater secret, guarded by the stars and the whispers of the forest. As the years went by, Kaguya grew not only in beauty and wisdom, but also in curiosity. Though immensely grateful for the serene life she led with her adoptive parents and enchanted by the simplicity of nature, a new feeling began to blossom within her, the desire to know what lay beyond those mountains, beyond the fields and rivers that shaped her small universe. The stories told by the village elders about distant kingdoms, different people, and bustling cities began to kindle a silent flame in her heart. She didn't just want to hear, she wanted to see, to experience firsthand what existed in that other world that seemed so close and, at the same time, so unattainable. It was on a clear morning, when the breeze carried the sweet scent of wildflowers, that Kaguya decided to share this desire with her parents. With delicacy and respect, she told them she felt a growing urge to visit the village, to better know those people she only crossed paths with from afar, and to discover what life was like beyond the safe confines of her home. Her parents, though surprised, were not saddened. They knew their daughter was no ordinary child, and that this curious spirit was part of her essence. With heavy hearts, yet full of confidence, they gave her permission to undertake this small adventure, accompanying her on her first visit to the village center, where life bustled with the comings and goings of its inhabitants. Upon arriving in the village, Kaguya was met with looks of enchantment. Her delicate beauty and gentle demeanor quickly caught everyone's attention. People stopped their chores just to watch her pass, as if a creature from another world had appeared there in the midst of their simple routines. Children ran around her, charmed by her sweetness and joy, while adults exchanged curious glances and discreet whispers. Though surrounded by smiles and friendly gazes, Kaguya felt, for the first time, a strange sensation, a small emptiness, as if there was something inside her that still didn't quite fit there. The people's affection was real, but there was an invisible distance between her and that world. Over time, these visits became more frequent. Kaguya participated in the small village festivities, helped the children make flower crowns, and listened attentively to the stories the elders told about ancient times. Still, no matter how much she tried to fit in completely, the feeling of being from somewhere else wouldn't leave her in peace. It was like a forgotten memory, a whisper from the starry sky that appeared mainly on nights when she stared intently at the moon. Her parents perceived this restlessness in silence and, even without fully understanding the reason, offered support, understanding, and much love, as they always had since the very first day. It was in this contrast between the beauty of simple life and her inner turmoil that Kaguya began to understand that her journey would not just be about playing in the fields or attending village parties. There was something larger, a subtle calling she couldn't yet decipher. Even surrounded by affection, a part of her heart longed for answers that couldn't be found there in the calm daily life of the village. The desire for belonging grew within her, but it wasn't an ordinary belonging. It was a search for a place she didn't yet know, but which, in some mysterious way, seemed to be calling her. Life with her parents continued to be sweet and full of tenderness, but the bamboo girl was beginning to realize that her path would be deeper and more challenging than she could ever have imagined. As time went on, Kaguya's beauty spread beyond the confines of that small village. Stories of her enchanting appearance and grace reached the ears of people from distant lands. Nobles, wealthy lords, and even members of the court began to hear of the mysterious young woman who lived among the bamboo groves. It wasn't long before suitors began to appear, bringing expensive gifts and honeyed words, each trying to be the one chosen to marry her. They came dressed in luxurious attire, mounted on imposing horses, and always accompanied by servants carrying boxes of jewels, fine fabrics, and exotic objects. All had the same intention: to win the hand of the young woman, who seemed to have descended from the heavens. But contrary to what these men expected, Kaguya felt not the slightest attraction to these displays of wealth and power. For her, a person's true worth lay not in embroidered clothes or rehearsed words, but in the purity of their heart. Knowing this, and perceiving the superficiality of many of those suitors, Kaguya began to set impossible challenges for each one who asked for her hand in marriage. It wasn't a malicious act, it was the way she found to protect her heart and test the sincerity of their intentions. With each proposal, she created a nearly unattainable quest to find mythical objects, treasures that existed only in the oldest legends or artifacts that could never be obtained by ordinary means. The suitors, eager to win the young woman, readily accepted the tasks without understanding the true difficulty they would face. Some embarked on long journeys through unknown lands. Others tried to deceive Kaguya by bringing fakes of rare objects, hoping to fool her. But the young woman, with her sharp intelligence and keen sensitivity, quickly discerned who brought lies and who gave up midway. Little by little, one by one, the suitors began to drift away, some frustrated, others humiliated by their own greed. For Kaguya, that parade of vanity and covetousness only confirmed what she already suspected. Many of those men desired her not for who she was, but for the idea of possession and pride. This situation, while protecting her freedom, also brought a growing discomfort. Kaguya began to realize that the more her fame spread, the more people approached her for superficial reasons. Even living surrounded by admiration and praise, she felt increasingly alone in her thoughts. The laughter shared with the village children, the gentle conversations with her parents, and the moments when she was alone contemplating the moon were the only instances when she truly felt at peace. The transience of human beauty, the vanity of men, and the emptiness of easy promises became evidence that this world, however beautiful and full of charms, was not her true home. It was as if something inside her was always calling her to another place. It was during this period of internal conflict and difficult choices that Kaguya began to look more frequently at the night sky. The moon, suspended above the horizon, seemed to speak to her in silence, like an ancient whisper that only her heart could hear. The challenges posed to the suitors were not just barriers. They were, in some way, reflections of this feeling, of not belonging, of this inexplicable longing for a distant and unknown place. With each new refusal, the emptiness within her grew a little more, not for lack of love for her home or her parents, but for the subtle sensation that her true story had not yet been revealed. Kaguya's heart was torn between affection for the life she knew and the invisible call of something much greater, coming from a place beyond human comprehension. Over the months, the story of Kaguya's beauty and intelligence reached even the most powerful ears in the land. Among those who heard of the mysterious young woman was the Emperor of Japan himself, a wise and respected man known for his justice and serenity. Unlike the other suitors who had presented themselves before, the Emperor was not moved merely by curiosity or the vanity of possessing something rare. There was in him a sincere and genuine admiration for this young woman who seemed so unique and, at the same time, so distant. After hearing so many stories about her incomparable beauty and delicacy, he decided to meet Kaguya personally. He sent no messengers nor luxurious gifts. He himself, disguised and unassuming, set out for the village, wishing to look her in the eyes and truly know her. The meeting took place on an afternoon with a gentle breeze, among the tall bamboos that swayed slowly in the wind. Kaguya was gathering flowers in the garden when she noticed the stranger's approach. Upon seeing him, she felt no fear or suspicion, for there was something in his presence that conveyed respect and peace. The Emperor, upon looking at the young woman, was immediately enchanted, but not by her appearance. It was by the serene glow of her eyes and the tranquility that emanated from her posture. They began to converse, and soon a feeling of true connection arose between them. There was no rush, no need to impress. It was as if two ancient souls were reuniting there in silence. Among the green leaves of the bamboo grove, their conversations became frequent, and the Emperor began to visit the village whenever he could, away from the prying eyes of the court. They spoke of the beauties of nature, of the stars in the sky, and of the mysteries of the world. Kaguya, for the first time, found someone who saw her beyond her external beauty. He saw her as a complete being, full of her own thoughts and feelings, and this touched her deeply. The Emperor brought no empty promises or grandiose gifts. He brought presence, listening, and respect. In each dialogue, it seemed that both were seeking, without even knowing it, answers to the silent questions they carried in their hearts. Over time, the Emperor confessed his desire to have her as his wife, not out of interest or vanity, but out of sincere love. He said that, if she wished, she could live by his side, not in seclusion or submission, but as a companion and counselor, someone free to be who she was. This proposal deeply touched Kaguya's heart. For the first time, she encountered an honest request coming from someone who truly saw her. However, even feeling affection and respect for this man, something within her said she could not accept. It was as if a hidden part of her story was not yet complete, as if her stay there was only temporary. The Emperor's love was true, but Kaguya carried a destiny greater than she could explain. With delicacy and tenderness, she refused his request. She explained that, although she was honored and happy for his friendship, she did not entirely belong to that world. There was a secret in her heart, yet unrevealed, an origin that not even she could fully understand. The Emperor, though saddened, understood the young woman's decision. He did not try to force her, did not insist, and promised that he would respect her choice, even if it brought him longing and melancholy. They parted there, in the same garden where they had met so many times, under the soft light of the moon that was beginning to rise on the horizon. From that day on, something changed within Kaguya. The distant call she had felt since childhood now grew stronger, clearer, as if the moment to know her true origin was finally approaching. On quiet nights, when the sky was clear and the moon shone in its full splendor, Kaguya felt a profound melancholy invade her heart. It was as if the silvery light illuminating the earth spoke directly to her soul, awakening forgotten memories and feelings she still couldn't fully comprehend. She would retreat from the village bustle and climb to the top of a small hill, where she could observe the vast, starry sky. There, she felt both small and connected to something much larger, an invisible link that bound her to a distant and mysterious origin. It was a silent call, almost a whisper from afar, an invitation that grew within her each night. This call from the moon was accompanied by vivid dreams and confusing images, which Kaguya tried to decipher upon waking. She saw scenes of a place beyond the sky, where luminous beings inhabited palaces made of light and clouds. She felt both welcomed and sad, as if trapped between two worlds that could not unite. Doubt and longing mingled in her chest, bringing a weight that not even her parents' love could completely alleviate. She knew she carried a secret, a truth that simple life on earth could not reveal. Time seemed to pressure her, as if the moment to return to her origin was rapidly approaching. With her heart torn between love for her parents and the growing desire to know her true home, Kaguya began to prepare for what she knew would inevitably come. Silently, she started to say goodbye to the little things that made up her life, the bamboo groves that had welcomed her, the garden where she grew up, the voices of friends, and even the scent of wet earth after rain. These farewells were not filled with sadness, but with gratitude and acceptance. She understood that her journey would not end there, that a larger chapter of her story was about to be written. The call of the moon, though painful, was also a promise of reunion, of returning to her true home. Meanwhile, her parents, even without fully understanding what was happening in their daughter's heart, sensed a subtle change in her behavior. They noticed Kaguya had become more introspective, more distant, as if carrying an invisible burden. On clear nights, they would sit together to watch the moon, wishing to find answers in the stars. Although the fear of the unknown hovered in their thoughts, there was also a deep trust in the love that united them. They knew that, whatever happened, that love would be eternal, capable of traversing time and distance. And it was this certainty that kept them strong, even in the face of imminent separation. Finally, the moment arrived when Kaguya made the decision that she needed to depart. It was a difficult choice, made with a heavy heart, but also with the courage of one who knows a greater destiny awaits. She wrote farewell letters to her parents and to the emperor, words filled with affection, gratitude, and longing. She promised never to forget them and that, somehow, she would always be near, even if invisible to their eyes. That night, under the starry sky and the soft glow of the moon, Kaguya looked towards the horizon with a mixture of hope and sadness. The call of the moon would finally guide her back home, where her true story awaited her, on that silent night. The air was heavy with an almost sacred calm. Kaguya felt the weight of farewell in her heart, but also the certainty that she needed to fulfill her destiny. She carefully wrote farewell letters to her adoptive parents, words filled with love, gratitude, and apologies for this unexpected departure. Her hands trembled as she formed the letters, as if each word were a link binding her even more deeply to the home that had welcomed her with such affection. She also wrote a letter to the emperor, expressing her respect and affection, explaining that, despite the love she felt, she needed to return to the origin that called to her from the stars. As dawn began to tint the sky with soft shades of pink and gold, celestial beings started to appear on the horizon, bathed in a soft, brilliant light. They came to retrieve Kaguya, summoned by a call that transcended the earthly world. The young woman, robed in a dress made of silver light, walked serenely towards them, a mixture of sadness and hope in her eyes. Her parents and the emperor watched from afar, their hearts aching, knowing that this moment marked the end of one story and the beginning of another, larger and more mysterious. Tears flowed silently, mingled with gratitude and the eternal love they felt for her. As she was enveloped by the celestial beings, Kaguya felt an indescribable lightness. It was as if all weights and doubts were dispelled, and she could finally surrender to the true essence that had always dwelt within her. The sky seemed to open into a portal of light, guiding her back home, a place beyond human comprehension, where peace and eternity reigned. As she ascended, she looked back one last time at her parents and the emperor, sending them a smile, full of tenderness and promise. The farewell was painful, but also full of beauty, a silent goodbye that spoke of a love transcending distances and times. In the village, silence took hold. The people, even without fully understanding what had happened, felt the young woman's absence as a palpable void in the air. The bamboo cutter and his wife were heartbroken, but also comforted by the memory of the joy Kaguya had brought into their lives. The emperor, for his part, kept in his soul the image of that intensely shining light, vowing to honor her memory with eternal respect and devotion. Even though the earthly world had lost the young woman's physical presence, her spirit seemed to hover among the bamboo leaves, in the glow of the moon, and in the soft songs carried by the wind. Thus, Kaguya's ascension marked the end of an era, and the beginning of a legend that would span generations. Her legacy of love, mystery, and courage remained alive in the hearts of those who knew her and those who heard her story. The little bamboo princess, born from a magical glow in the forest, had become a bridge between two worlds, the earthly and the celestial, teaching that true love transcends all, and that even the most difficult farewells carry within them the seed of eternity. The starry sky continued to shine, now illuminated by an even purer light, as if Kaguya were watching over everyone, smiling silently. After Kaguya's departure, the silence that settled over the village was filled with longing and reverence. Her parents, despite the deep sorrow they felt, found solace in the certainty that the daughter they had loved so dearly now shone in a place beyond the stars. The physical absence of the bamboo princess did not erase the impact she had on their lives. On the contrary, her spirit seemed more present than ever, whispering in the gentle breezes and reflecting in the glow of the full moon. For the emperor, that light which had vanished from the earthly world became a constant inspiration, a symbol of true love and purity that he would forever cherish in his heart. In a gesture laden with emotion, the emperor ordered that his letters, intended for Kaguya, be burned at the foot of the hill where she used to contemplate the sky. He believed that, even if the words could not be sent physically, the smoke rising to the heavens would carry his feelings to the princess, bridging the distance between worlds. This silent act became a symbolic ritual of love and longing, an invisible bond uniting heaven and earth. The villagers, too, began to look at the moon with a mixture of respect and hope, feeling that, somewhere up there, Kaguya smiled down on them, protecting them with her serene and eternal light. Kaguya's legacy, more than her beauty or her magical origin, was the love she left as a message to the world. A love that transcends distance, time, and even earthly life. The story of the princess born in bamboo transformed into a legend that spans generations, teaching that the true essence of each individual is far greater than it appears, and that, even when we feel we have lost someone, their presence remains alive within us. Kaguya reminds us that we are part of something larger, and that the connection between hearts is eternal, even when paths seem to diverge. When contemplating the moon on silent nights, hearts that know this story can feel a gentle warmth, as if the princess herself were there, beside us, protecting us and illuminating our steps. Her journey, full of mystery, love, and courage, invites us to look within, to value simple moments, and to recognize that even in the most painful farewells, there lies the promise of reunion. Kaguya's story is an invitation to believe in the magic of life, in the power of love, and in the beauty of the unexpected that can transform our lives forever. If you enjoyed this story and want to continue exploring tales that calm the mind and warm the heart, please subscribe to the channel, give us a like, and share this video with those you love. Tell us in the comments which part of the story touched you the most, or what other legend you'd like to hear here on Sleep with Stories. Your presence and participation make all the difference as we continue to create moments of peace and relaxation. Together, until our next story, and may Kaguya's light illuminate your dreams tonight.